What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and we're going to be looking at Beyond Meat. This is the fake faux meat that you see in the store. They're pretty popular. They have like different variants, different things between like a Beyond Meat burger, sausage. A lot of companies like I believe Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and other large fast food restaurants are starting to push out their meat. I think Burger King has their burger on their menu. Maybe that's the Impossible for Burger King, and then McDonald's was potentially doing Beyond. So that is their two biggest variants. So this is basically a substitute, or rather having a pure beef burger. They have like this soy whatever based test tube-ish meat. It's actually fairly good. I highly recommend their sausages are really good. But that being said, so due to many people changing their diets, and what you'll see later in the video about a user basically saying that there's a meat shortage, which we kind of have heard in the past, in the last week or so, meaning that a potential decline in chicken, pork, and beef due to a lot of meat processing plants in the United States are closing. So let's just go ahead and look at a wonderful user here of High Five Society. I made 123K on vegan burgers. So basically guided me to 10x his money. So we're gonna go ahead and look at this. His full description of this doesn't give a lot of great detail. He basically just gives a screenshot of his calls, and it shows the August 21 210 call, and he had 500 of them long. This doesn't mean, if don't know exactly when he bought them, we can kind of do some very basic math when he potentially bought these to roll. But we can go ahead and pop on over to the chart here. So this is Beyond Meat. So this is a fairly new stock that came out as an IPO basically around Mayish, Mayish last year, and it just basically took off from $50 all the way to like $240, and then slowly but surely it kind of steamed down. A lot of other companies were coming out saying that they're doing this as well, blah blah blah, whatever, and it kind of just rolled back down to like the 75. We picked it up here around 75.80 and ran it up to around 120. Kind of got out of it, and just due to kind of trading back and forth, it did hold the 21, which was great, but then kind of broke below it due to the overall downturn of the economy, and just everything going to panic mode. It just went down with the overall market. Looks like it had a potential bottom here, trying to test it here, and just been grinding higher, and then kind of really just took off, and now it's hitting some resistance around the 200 exponential moving average. So let's go ahead and look at the calls. Bought the August 21s. So he bought the 210s. That is really far out there. So 210s, he probably bought them. I'm going to go ahead and print this to 1. He said he 10 times his money, right? Did he 10 times his money? So he probably bought them well over. This thing has been trading for climb. As you can see here, it's been bouncing around, and this like low point here was just with the overall downturn trading down to literally 2 pennies when it was probably trading at like $70. So if he would have got in there, that would have been wow, crazy, right? What about 200 times this account? Then he slowly grinded up. So let's do some quick math here. Let me pull up the old calculator. There we go. Pull over here. So he made $123, 123K, and he divided it by 500 calls. So he sold them basic around $2, 246. Let's see here. Again, I don't know if this must have been posted it. Okay, so around 246, probably around here. So it'll be 10 times that. So we just divide this by 10. He bought them oops, did I divide? Oopsies. Let me just times that by 10. Bring that back. Then we're going to times. So around 24, basically around, again, this is 24-ish cents. So if you paid $2 and let's just round it up to 250. So you paid 250 for him, 10 times that amount, he'd be paying less than 25 cents. So he probably bought them way back here. Looking at probably the beginning or the mid of April, due to the very low, and just rode it up from there. So that is one heck of a trade for sure. Basically piling just a little bit of money. So if he paid 500 times $24, so he still put a pretty significant investment in, about $12,000. So this kind of lines up. So basically 10 times that amount is 120, which is around 124. So he placed a $25 bet, so $25 into $246, but times that 5 times, and that's where you got his huge move. So basically buying right in here, this little movement here on the 9th, or probably the 13th or the 14th, this potential crossover here, buying in, again, fairly far out options too. Like, that's what happens when the calls are so far out of the money. They'll move really fast. If they're really far out of the money and you have a huge move higher, basically, how high did this move actually? It moved 63% in less than a weekish, maybe a little over a week. So about 10 days. Well, not 10 trading days, but about like 7-8 trading days. It just moved so significantly higher, hitting the wall here at the 200, which you kind of see we had that issue over here before, and kind of going down from there. Potentially it has earnings coming up, so that's going to be a pretty big coin flip there, but that overall resistance at 200 is very, it needs to overcome that. So we're actually going to, I want to see if this ever breaks this. Goes above here, and I want to actually put an alert if it kind of comes crashing well below the 21 here. So that is a great trade for Mr. High Five Society. And then there was one more. Alright, so I actually wanted to highlight this other article too by Don't Creep My Username. This guy or gentleman or lady is saying that Beyond Meat is going to go skyrocketing due to the overall shortage in meat, and he's thinking it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Typical, right? So this is his due diligence. He posted quite a bit of articles linking outwards to different studies and articles citing infection rates in the overall meat industry and plants closing down due to the outbreak and the pandemic. Tysons offering people $500 to come to work, blah, blah, blah. You can go ahead and read your own analysis on that. You can do your own little due diligence. So basically he's going not super long. He's going long beyond 120 call that's expiring the end of May, and then he's going short or buying the put for Tyson. So we can go ahead and throw those guys on the charts as well to look at them. So he's going with the Beyond Meat. Again, he didn't explain on what price he got into. He's just buying these as his trade. So he's kind of creating a hedge, going long that and then shorting something on the other side. So he's doing the end of May's here. So the 125 call, that's still out of the money. So that's basically, it's pretty widespread. So basically a $5 or $500 for that call. We can go ahead and look at the potential delta on that, aka that is the percentage of it being in the money or the pop, which is 30%. That is a very lucrative call, because if it does report well and the earnings do go very well for the company, this could potentially see a huge lift off in price. That 30 delta will pop off quite a bit and continue to increase in value, because the closer it gets to in the money or at the money, the value is of course going to go up. mind you that it's not the day of expiration, but with time it's going to continue going up if the overall stock goes up. But yes, we are down nearly 7% today and beyond. Like, is this a buying opportunity? I don't know. I for my opinion, this is just giving my advice. I wouldn't buy this, just due to the fact of it's just so volatile. And if you have just cash laying around underneath your sofa, you want to put $500 toward it, that's your prerogative. We kind of did the overall chart analysis here, looking at an overhead resistance here basically at 113 and looking at potential support if the 5 and the 8 exponential moving averages do not hold up for a potential downturn into 82 again. But again, there's a huge question mark here at being earnings basically on the 5th, so basically a week from now, with a huge throwing a wrench into the whole equation there. So there's going to be a huge question mark there. So if you're long and it comes back down, if you want to add a little bit, 25% of your initial position, and then add afterwards, that's up to you. All right, so then let's go ahead look at a TSN. That is going to be the Tyson's Food. And he bought the 55 put for the same expiration at the end of May. So look at Tyson. I haven't looked at Tyson's for quite some time. It has not broken or gotten near its 50% retracement, so it's lagging. It looks like it also has earnings coming up as well on the 4th, so the day before Beyond Meat. This is interesting. It's clearly not trading too well on the momentum side, so it's well below its 5 and 8 and actually below the 21 for a potential polar down pull. And I would actually kind of hate to agree with this user, but this could be pretty substantial downturn and could be testing around the 52 level. So we're actually going to create an alert here, 52. And you can kind of see here, it's kind of had a little bit of resistance up here around the 65 level. It's tried multiple times and kind of failed. And it's just the overall dragging down with this red line, which is the 55 exponential moving average, kind of guiding it down. And this one is longer term, which is just the plain old 50 simple moving average, kind of not being able to break above it. So we could see basically kind of like a wedge pattern here, for it kind of most likely will be breaking lower depending on the news. Again, huge question mark here on the earnings report. Let's go ahead and look at those puts. He said he bought the 55 puts. So he probably bought them for like $1.70, $170. Clearly there's not that many out there. There's only a total of this doesn't make sense. There's no, I don't think he bought the 55 puts. I think he's lying. There's six options that were bought or sold. It doesn't tell you clearly, but the open interest tells me that there's nothing out there. So that might be delayed or something wrong. Seems a little strange. It is a weekly contract, so there's not going to be that much action in it. It's not a monthly contract, so just in comparison, if you look at the monthly, you're going to see a lot more action here, especially on the 55 level. You're going to see just 56 trades puts traded today, and then there's 553 open there as well. If you really wanted to go short, if you wanted to play this, it'd be a little bit of an easier bet, because you want to trade something that has a little bit tighter skew between the ask and the bid, and then the overall a little more options in the sense of having volume in that. Because if you're getting into a stock or an option where there's no basically open interest out there, who are you trading with? You're going to be trading with the market makers, and they're just going to let you bleed. So I don't actually recommend trading weeklies on something that has such low volume in it. Rather be looking at the earlier dates of the 15th of May for potential trades if you want to go short that. And this is actually something I'm going to be adding to my outlook. I kind of see this heading lower. Again, this is just my opinion. Looking here for a potential swing lower, maybe looking at filling the gap here around 54. We'll see what happens. and we'll take a looky-loo later on. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.